info. You just have to come to us. You have to go to us. You have to do
Oh, no.
Come on.
Classic villain, terrible theme song.
Really? Classic villain, terrible theme song.
Yes, I would say I'm being controversial.
One of the greatest theme songs ever created, and it's a very simple note structure. Coming from an audio person, you should appreciate that.
There's not enough notes.
Not enough notes. So what you're saying is you've got notes to give to John Williams on the lack of notes in that song.
Yes.
Welcome back, everyone, to Need More Info, a podcast spawned the worlds of movies, video games, and TV shows, and the controversial opinions of Fergus on the show. It's always best to have.
Hello, everyone.
Yes. So obviously we've been trying to think of a way to actually bring about some good musical intros to these shows, looking at ways to possibly add lyrics to songs. And we were looking at the horror aspects of like theme songs, and we're like, you can't really put more lyrics to these types of songs.
It's quite hard. So the list we've got: Psycho, Jaws,
which I just fucking
we just
attempted.
did.
The Thing, which
Shining,
I don't even know.
Maybe I don't know the Thing. The Exorcist, maybe The Exorcist. Ghost.
Oh my, I kill, I slash you, my darling, I kill you so much. That actually kind of works. To be honest.
Yeah, maybe we should have done that one.
I stab you all the time. Okay, I won't butcher that song anymore. I'm so sorry, folks. I won't butcher that song anymore.
It's all right.
Yeah, no. Beetlejuice. Don't really want to say his name 3 times though, just in case it invokes something.
Yes,
like a sequel that possibly might happen.
Oh, that could be interesting and also terrible.
I mean, with the Wednesday thing that's going on at the moment.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Did you hear about her actually?
What thing?
She's been made an executive producer on season 2 because she came in and changed a lot of the dialogue and script for her character in season 1.
Wow.
Because she really, and supposedly she may have annoyed quite a few people on the first season.
Yeah.
Which is good in my opinion.
Well, I mean, it made a great show, so carry on.
Yeah, carry on my wayward girl, carry on my wayward girl.
Yes.
I don't care if I'm throwing these puns, man. Fergus just for fuck's sake, Nick, come on, yeah. But no, it's good to be about people. It's, episode 55, so we are well over the year hump of our year now. Year hump of our year. Can't speak words today.
We've made many episodes.
Yes, we made many episodes, and obviously, hopefully you enjoyed the previous episodes that we had. So, the current state of streaming, where we kind of went a little bit in on a couple of streaming services there.
Yeah, not all streaming services are good. I think was the summary.
I love that. Not good.
There's a lot of problems with a lot of streaming services. You have to navigate an absolute minefield out there.
And obviously we had Honey, I Shrunk Paul Rudd, and we definitely have to thank James for that title, because that was absolutely perfect.
Yes, it's been ages since those films. Maybe they should come back.
I mean, did you ever watch the TV show growing up?
Probably episodes of, but not a lot, I don't think.
They were actually pretty good. I actually was quite surprised how good they were. We're talking 90s though, so it wasn't amazing. And it wasn't Rick Moranis, unfortunately. It's nice to see him possibly coming back in the future, hopefully. It'd be nice to see, with the resurgence of Brendan Fraser and Ki Hu Kwan. Maybe Rick Moranis, but obviously he went out for his own personal reasons, because obviously,
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to see him come back though. Maybe with the next Ghostbusters movie that's actually filming now.
Oh, wow, right, okay.
Have you seen Afterlife by any chance?
No, I haven't.
It's really good.
No,
it's more of a close-knit film. It's not a big bombastic film. And it has a really good emotional payoff towards the end. Because obviously, I can't remember his name. So it's Nate cutting in here from the episode. I just want to apologise to all the Ghostbusters fans out there. I had a massive brain fart during this episode. It's Harold Ramis I was talking about. And he really does have a great inclusion in the movie Ghostbusters Afterlife. But take my Ghostbusters fan club card away from me if you wish. I do apologise to all the Ghostbusters fans out there. I definitely know a few of them are my friends and myself. So anyway, yes, Harold Ramis, back to the episode. I'm really blanking now. I apologise. So the guy who plays Spengler, he obviously passed away. And they actually pay a really good homage to him in the movie. So the whole film is basically you follow the grandchildren and the daughter of the character,
right?
And then it has a really good emotional payoff to the film, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And the director is the original son's films. Damn it, can't speak words today, people. The director is the son of the original film's director.
Oh, okay.
So Jason Reitman, he's taken on the role of Ivan Reitman's. So I thought it was really good, and I believe he saw that Ivan possibly saw the film before he passed away. So yeah, going off a whole tangent, people, for horror movies, but it's kind of the theme today, people. So before we get into that, though, like, how you been, man? Like,
good. Yeah, it's been an interesting week. Not to get too deep into it, a lot of stressful life events. So not really sitting down and watching things and playing things like I feel I should be.
Yeah, I've been playing some games though.
Been playing some games. I've been playing some games. It does definitely help ease the stress.
Oh, I get that. No, I've been playing some games as well. I've been looking at other games coming out. Like, I love the fact that Resident Evil comes out in a few weeks, and I'm like, that's a good game to de-stress to, I think. Like how I played Dead Space recently, and it's like, I'm going to go play Dead Space to de-stress.
Just some aliens, and
I mean, it's much better than Callisto Protocol. Like, way better. But we'll get into that in a later episode, or a crossover episode with another platform, so we'll see how that goes. But any good film, TV shows at all? Or was it just like...
I don't think of anything I've watched. A lot of YouTube, clips of people playing games. Mod scene is real crazy right now, to be honest. There's a lot of Hitman mods floating around. The Hitman community is still strong. Things like Hitman Randomizer mod. I've been watching an awful lot of Hitman Randomizer mod videos. It changes what all of the items you can pick up are, and not all of them. So it's basically just referencing the big list in the game of all weapons, and they do like kill everyone challenges, and they mod the face and outfits of Agent 47, and I don't know. I quite like the Hitman series. I'm somewhat sad they're not making Hitman 4. They are still making content for Hitman 3, but it's not.
I mean, they are working on their Bond game now, though.
Yeah, that is going to be interesting, given what the tone of the Hitman series of you are an assassin who's an absolute psychopath, and it doesn't really matter what you do. There's a lot more context with the 007 games. Like, I know he's an assassin, but he's also, I don't know, people are going to try and play it like Hitman, and it's not going to come across very well, maybe.
So I actually talk about like stuff. So I watched so we talked about on our content creator episode, the Corridor Crew. Basically, they've decided to create their own anime.
Ooh.
But they actually created it using videos of themselves,
right? And
creating like an AI generated version. So they used AI to generate the animated images and overlap of them. So they're actually using the program to actually create it themselves. And like literally, if you go onto Google people or YouTube, people search anime rock paper scissors.
It looks a lot better animated than an awful lot of hand drawn anime.
Like, honestly, like this was all filmed, put into filters, like, basically, like, they had to do a lot of work with it. There wasn't just like they had to, like, it wasn't like auto generated completely for them. They had to like do a lot of work into this, and it looks stunning. Like, it looks really good for what they have, to be honest. And a lot of this is just them standing still, like, and then just filmed and everything. I watched, like, Corridor Crew. They had like a 20-minute breakdown of this video, and I was creating. I highly recommend checking it out. And I watched a few of their things. They've also done a Halo fan film as well.
Yeah,
there's a few people actually doing those at the moment. Someone's creating an ODST movie, like fan movie. Okay. So maybe the TV show could take some inspiration from those people, possibly.
The Halo fan. Halo's one of the originators of Machinima.
Exactly, red versus blue. Yeah. They still got something going there, possibly, if I'm correct.
I don't know if they're producing new stuff. They produced a lot of stuff. I've watched videos recently. I don't know if they're relatively new.
But outside of that, I haven't really played that many games this week. I actually figured out how to sort out some stuff for my Steam Deck. So I've acquired Titanfall 2 and Dead Space 3 and everything on my Steam Deck. So playing a few classics. Battlefield Bad Company 2.
Oh, okay.
Loved that game back in the day. It was like, did you ever play it?
No, I don't think I did.
It was a shooter with a narrative, like a narrative that had comedy aspects to it. So it was like
Right.
comedic takes, whatever. Really fun story back in the day. And I thought I'm gonna give this see how it holds up today. And then also, last but one episode of The Last of Us, season 1.
I've not seen any of it yet. I do need to have a proper sit down.
Well, I think we've had the discussion on the podcast behind the scenes where basically we're going to have you and James watch the show, possibly Chaz.
Yeah.
I know Chaz has possibly seen gameplay elements, but I don't think he knows the entire story.
Yeah.
And watch the show, not having played the game. And then we're going to get your opinion, do an episode where we talk about it, and then just get your opinion, like, general sense of the show, and then also reveal to you what wasn't in the game, or what they changed from the game differently.
Yeah. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, because, I mean, episode 3 is one of the best episodes in TV in quite a while, in my opinion. This recent episode was violent as fuck. Like, and also, like, a lot of people have been criticising Bella Ramsey, saying, oh, yeah, we should recast her for the second season. Because in the second game, she is 19. And in this show, she's 14.
Yeah.
So it's quite weird, you know. And also, how does that play out in the second season? Because there's also rumours they might start filming this year.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, maybe just wait.
True, but she ain't growing much anymore. Like, you know, but if they can make Tom Cruise look almost 6'4", they can easily make.
Oh yeah, just film from a slightly different angle.
Because she is taller in the second game, so I'm just wondering how that play out and everything. But like the recent episodes has more focused on her character, you know, just to show how she is as an actress, and she's an amazing actress, like a brilliant actress, and I can't wait to see how she goes into the show going forward. So and her career is just going to be astounding. If she doesn't win Emmy Awards, at least, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. There's a lot of competition in TV land right now, but I mean,
Succession is coming back for its final season.
I've
heard it's brilliant.
Yeah.
I've heard it's absolutely brilliant. Barry's coming back for its final season. Never watched that. I've heard Bill Hader's amazing as like a serial hitman trying to be an actor. Like it's got Henry Winkler in it as well. Like it's supposed to be studying TV. Still haven't watched Better Call Saul.
No, neither have I.
I mean, James has watched it and he says it's great. And it's like
there's just so much to watch. Like you could really genuinely make a full-time job out of watching TV.
Yeah, because like Ted Lasso season 3 is coming out soon, and I can't wait to watch that. And like, it's just so much content, people. But yeah, so obviously, you know, you're here today for the topics, people, all the content, the lovely things we're going to be getting into.
Yeah, we have a lot to discuss today on our chosen topic, which is...
I mean, we gave a little hint at the beginning, so do you want to give us the topic, Fergus?
Yes, this is villains. How much more content TV show do they need?
Shall I give it a title?
It's beginning to sound like a... Oh dear, no, that...
Shall I give it a title?
Yes.
So basically, today, people, we are doing villains who possibly deserve their own franchise.
Yes.
I think that's a more eloquent way of putting that.
Yeah, I kind of went with their own TV show, but then I realised that wasn't quite right. That's kind of the focus.
Well, we're doing film, TV show, and everything. Like basically expanding that character to what they were, or like how maybe like we could do a different take on the character possibly, so like, you know, interpreting it differently. Yeah, definitely. So what we're going to do is today, people, we're going to roll for about like three different characters, like, you know, fictional characters or historical characters possibly, and see what we'd want to do with them. But also, if we got a few honorable mentions, or I know I've got a few honorable mentions, we won't actually really go on about them much, to be honest, but if you've got any, like, we like to comment on each other's items and everything, like, you know, what we think, maybe some opinions on maybe the honourable mentions, and then we'll get into detail for the one specifically. I'm wondering, though, if Fergus has at least, how can I put this, maybe one or two anime characters on his list.
I do. How did you guess?
Shocking, shock, horror there, people. I mean, I actually have no comic book characters on my list at all, which is... Yeah, because I thought we'd have some different ones, and I figured most people go to Batman villains or Spider-Man villains.
I was thinking this through, and a lot of the good villains already are a major part of a franchise. They don't need more.
And also, Sony is making all their villains anti-heroes already.
Also that, yes.
Which I can't wait for Kraven the Hunter. which is going to be I don't know how it's going to play out, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've discussed in the previous podcast. He's supposed to be the ultimate, like, he finds Spider-Man as the ultimate prey, but there's rumors that he might be a vegetarian and he's protecting the animals in his movie.
Oh, this thing. He's a hunter where he's not a hunter and he doesn't...
Aaron Taylor Johnson is playing him.
Right.
Great actor.
Yeah.
But, again, like... I just don't know, to be honest, how this could play out. So, but what we're going to do is today, people, we'll start off with the honourable mentions, and then we will get into we've got 3 each, I'd say. We got 3 each, possibly.
Got 3 mains. I don't know if I've got honourable... Well, the honourable mentions are the really obvious ones.
I mean, we could just roll with those. So, if you want to kick us... So what we're going to do is now people are going to get into it. So, as tradition, as we always do, NMI.
Take it away, me.
I love that. Take it away, me. Jesus Christ. Okay.
Honourable mention, Joker.
Yeah. He's like always the go-to, to be honest.
He's such a great villain that I mean, it's already the case that he has so many He's going to have 2 standalone films, and he is a major part of most of the Batman franchise. So that's why he's not a main on the list, because he's basically already got his airtime.
Have you heard of Joker the White Knight?
I don't think I've seen it.
So basically, it's a comic book series. I haven't actually read it fully myself. I just know of it. Where basically Jack Napier. So I don't know if that name was created for the original 1989 Batman movie, because that's who Jack Nicholson played, who was the gangster in the movie. But supposedly he regains his sanity.
Ah.
And but also it's a flip end where Batman has gone off the deep end and has become overly violent, so flips it on its head.
Okay. Yeah. That does sound interesting. I mean, it's a pretty unique take on the whole thing, which is certainly welcome at this point.
I mean, like Batman vs Superman, you could have done that possibly. And right, people. So I'm going to talk about a little movie called Flashpoint. If you don't want to be spoiled for the Flashpoint movie, I don't think they're going to spoil this in the upcoming The Flash movie, and even though they're using Flashpoint as a basis. But if you haven't seen the Flashpoint animated movie, skip ahead about... I'll put the time slot in here, people.
Hey everyone, so if you want us to actually skip 18 minutes and 23 seconds, it's literally just about a minute ahead. If you don't want to be spoiled for the DC animated movie Flashpoint, just go ahead and do that now. But if you don't care, listen along and enjoy.
So basically, in the Flashpoint movie, what happens is the Flash changes history and Bruce Wayne is killed.
Right.
And his dad becomes Batman.
Yeah.
But he becomes a Batman who uses guns.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
And his mum becomes the Joker. Because
Right.
in the animated movie, when she's holding she's trying to comfort her son, she puts her hand to her mouth, and his blood goes around her mouth.
Yeah.
And it just breaks her mind.
Yeah. No, I get it. That does make sense. Yeah.
And that's pretty interesting for a concept for the Joker, like flipping on his head.
Yeah. In terms of alternates, that's a pretty plausible in terms of Batman lore, it's an plausible alternate history.
I mean, there is a version of Batman called Owlman, who's evil. They had an animated movie of that as well.
Isn't Owlman a
Watchmen
character?
Yeah, it's a whole thing. But so we're going to come off Flashpoint, people. And any more comments on Joker?
No, not really. I mean, the content is out there. You've probably seen.
How are you going to be with this Joker sequel coming out soon?
I am absolutely baffled by the news coming out. Like, it's a comedy musical.
Has it been said it's a comedy?
I'm assuming it is. I'm vaguely suggest. I don't see how else it could be. Like, Joker laughs a lot. It's going to be a musical theme. It's going to lean into comedy, but it's also going to have elements of him being actually.
I can't wait to
terrible.
see Lady Gaga as Dr. Harleen Quinn.
Yeah, that is going to be a.
She's going to be brilliant. I think. Unfortunately, I haven't seen A Star Is Born. I've heard she's amazing in it.
She's a really good actress. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know. She was in American Horror Story as well. Like she's been in a few things, and obviously a lot. We mentioned this in previous podcast. Like Joaquin Phoenix is a musician in himself because he played Johnny Cash.
Yes, he did.
In Walk the Line, and he did get Oscar nominations, I believe, possibly.
I think so.
But he's a musician. Now, I'm just thinking of Joker having a Johnny Cash voice, and like that's going to be like interesting to say the least.
I mean, maybe. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's
But I'm wondering if they're doing what they like someone came up with a theory where how like the Joker doesn't have an origin story, so every film's going to be a different origin.
Yeah.
And a different genre.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
like let's say the first movie is like a 1970s, like 1980s, like like what would you call it? Like not grungy, but like, do you know the word downtrodden movie? Like basically.
Yeah.
And then the sequels are like a romantic, like musical to a degree.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be romance elements, like fucked up romance elements, no doubt.
Yeah.
But what if they plot twist on the head? Because obviously the first Joker had some really good narrative in that movie. What if Dr. Harley Quinzel doesn't become Harley Quinn, and it's all in his head?
It's again pretty plausible because she was originally his doctor, so it was entirely plausible that, you know, Joker internalizes her as this mythical.
But again, people,
character. We'll see.
Joker has so many avenues he can go down because of his mystery still.
Yeah.
Even after 70, 80 years.
Yeah, it's surprising that they've done quite so well to not tread the same territory for quite so long. Like, it would be very easy to fall into the trap of basically shoehorning the same story into just different skins, really.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But they've managed to avoid that.
Do you have any more honourable mentions?
Not off the top of my head.
Fair play then. Right, so let's flip over to myself now. So, I've got a few. One of these is going to be very controversial, so we won't dig into it too much. But the first one I'm going to start off with is Ghostface from the Scream franchise. Obviously, this came into head because obviously Scream 6 is out this week for us. What if, as I wrote, I got a little script here, people. Flip the script on its head, and there are multiple ghost faces. But it turns out the one is actually trying to lure the others out and take them out in the movie. But that ghost face is always there at the wrong time when the kills happen. We don't find out till the end of the movie that there's not a bad there's a good ghost face trying to like get these other ghost face out and take them out.
Wouldn't that just be a scary movie plot?
I mean, the way I see it, it's like a Trojan horse aspect to it. Like, you know, because obviously a lot of the time in these movies, you don't know who the killer is. But what if the killer doesn't know who who the other person is?
Oh, he's trying to commit the murders, but someone keeps getting there before him.
No. But as in, like, he's trying to prevent the murders from occurring, but he's trying to find out who the other ghost faces are, so he's infiltrating.
Oh, right.
Because there's this whole thing in the Scream franchise at the moment, which I think is really interesting, and how... Because I haven't really hugely watched the Scream franchise in late years, but I know of in that world, there's the Stab franchise, which is, like, inspired by the original Hillsborough murders. I believe it's Hillsborough. And they created movies out of it. So they got this whole Stab following.
Yeah.
And supposedly they have, like, cults now, or, like, people obsessed with the franchise, so they want to, like, you know, wear the ghost face mask and everything, and murders occur. But what if it gets to the level where it gets that bad, that someone is, like, let's say someone's family member is murdered, and they have to infiltrate this cult, essentially. But you don't find out till the end of the movie. Possibly that sort of approach. Or you do know who they are throughout the movie, but you don't know because when the mask is on, you don't know who is who. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I would say I would possibly take it slightly differently of do a sort of a day in the life of Ghostface.
A day in the life of Ghostface. Just wake up in the morning, drinking his coffee. Oh no, can I have some bacon today? Oh no.
Normal guy, goes to McDonald's, has a job, spends his evening being Ghostface.
Just doesn't take the mask off.
Well, no, he would be like normal dude, but then like
just goes out at night and starts killing people and then goes, wakes up. So it's sort of like Dexter, but like,
I guess,
but with Ghostface essentially, but like add a comedy element to it. Because the original Scream movie wasn't meant to be a serious; it had comedic elements to it. Okay, I like this. Like, expanded. See, that's what I'm saying. People, you know, have these conversations and like see where it goes from there. So, next person on my list is the Sheriff of Nottingham. What if the Sheriff of Nottingham and Robin Hood were the same person? Sort of like taking the aspect of Batman, where how like Bruce Wayne has to be like a philanthropic playboy asshole, but at night he becomes Batman. What if the Sheriff of Nottingham and Robin Hood are the same person?
That's kind of like saying, what if Batman and the Joker are the same person, I think, narratively. because they do genuinely get into fights, and like the big end boss battle is, I'm sure, like Robin, like, do they ever meet? They can't possibly be the same. That is a noodle muddler.
But if you could pull that off though,
yeah, I guess, but like that has to be some proper split personality.
I mean that could be an
Could
aspect,
be a
that
thing.
like schizophrenic, like split personality aspect to it, or like,
Yeah,
you know.
but then everyone would know who the Sheriff of Nottingham. Wouldn't they recognise him? I don't know. There's...
Well, no, because Robin Hood would be wearing a hood and a mask.
Oh, I guess.
Because I'm taking like the Green Arrow aspect of it, like the recent Robin Hood movie where, you know, you could wear a hood and stuff, like you could hide your identity, or Zorro to a degree.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Diego de la Vega, he was I believe he was a Spaniard, or he was like, he was American, like, you know, he was from a very upper class background and looked down on the poor class, but he was actually the hero of the poor class. I'm just taking that like idea of what if you flipped it on its head, basically.
I think it'd be kind of tricky to do, but I do see where you're coming from with it.
But it's never been done before, I don't think.
No.
And it's public domain, Fergus. Public domain.
Well, in that case, let's do it.
I mean, I've just found out that Zorro's public domain.
Really?
I swear to God, Zorro is public domain. Yeah, no,
the original writings of Zorro are old, I think.
Yeah, so Zorro is public domain. Because I know Disney are doing a Zorro show, and also the CW are doing a Zorro show.
Lapsed in 2005. Damn. Okay.
95.
Oh, yes, I misread that.
Which was before the Antonio Banderas movie, which is amazing.
Someone didn't pay the royalties to Zorro then.
I mean, like 1800s actually. Zorro is probably like early 1900s.
Yes.
I love how we're like just googling Wikipedia people just to figure out
Zorro.
Like, yeah, when he was actually written, yes. So he debuted 1919.
Yeah, like they were actually. That's roughly this era he was.
So about 18, 19 years before Batman. Because he was 38. No, he was 40. So yeah, he was 20 years before.
Yeah.
Because obviously Batman is majorly influenced by Zorro. That is one of his major. Zorro and Sherlock.
Yeah.
Because if you watch a Batman movie or a Batman show, Zorro is usually referenced how, like, in the 89 Batman movie, they're coming out of a Zorro screening and everything. So,
right.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
I mean, yeah. We won't go into that anymore. But yeah, the Sheriff of Nottingham, though. Like,
yeah. How
could that work? You know, it could work. It just popped in my head. Like, I'm a big fan of Green Arrow, like a massive fan, but he's originally inspired by Robin Hood, the villain Sheriff of Nottingham. You can't really do King John because, I mean, King John Robin Hood? Like, you can't really do that. Because you have to have an antagonist.
Yes.
But unless... could you do King John?
King John was the patsy to the whole thing. Like, he was just being manipulated by the Sheriff of Nottingham, wasn't he?
I mean, he was still a bit of a dick, though, supposedly. Like, because he wasn't his brother Richard. Yeah, but that's the possible aspect. That's the possible road you could take.
Yeah.
So the other one I'm going, let's just go for Sheriff of Nottingham. It's still good. It's a good idea. I'm rubbing my own shoulder there. It's a good idea, I think. It is Judas.
Yes, that's gonna be an interesting one to do.
Yeah, there's the whole religious aspect, which could be a major problem. But the way I thought about it is how, like, you know, obviously the 30 pieces of silver for betraying Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What if those 30 pieces of silver, like, represented souls he has to save, and every soul he gets, he loses the silver?
Trying to do a Judas redemption arc. I don't know. Maybe? Yeah? I mean, Lucifer's fair game, so why not Judas? I mean, you know.
Yeah. I mean, well, Judas is... I mean, Lucifer is supposed to be portrayed as, like, you know, a character who doesn't lie, supposedly, or, like, you know, at least in the TV show I watched, which I loved. But Judas, I just thought, you know, Judas has been portrayed as Dracula before. Yeah. Like in the Dracula 2000 movie with Gerard Butler, which is awful, by the way. And, you know, it's an idea just possibly to have that. So
yeah, you'd have to do it in a very particular way, and you've got to bear in mind that there would be no redeeming of this guy in quite a lot of people's eyes.
True.
Just because of stuff.
Yeah, it's only been like
2,000
2,000 years or something. Yeah, no, of course, but at the end of the day, like, it's the idea of repenting your sins, or like, the ultimate forgiveness and stuff like that. And like, I don't know, it's just an idea, to be honest, just an idea.
Yeah, I mean, you could do an updated telling of it where he basically does the same thing, but in modern day with
a modern day Christ, though, like.
There's people's second coming and all that.
Yeah, that could be an idea.
But then you just get into massive religious territory straight away.
Maybe it's something we might come up with now, because there was just an idea I had for one of them. But so that's my final honorable mentions. We're now going to get into our main ideas now. I'm going to head back to Fergus for his first one.
Okay, this character might come up in a future episode, but recently, as recently as this week, actually, I should have mentioned this in the introduction, I went to see the new Puss in Boots movie, and I was introduced to the classic villain of Jack Horner. The internet seems to have gone absolutely nuts over Jack Horner, and I don't think there was enough of him in the Puss in Boots movie, and I think his story could be expanded massively.
So I will say, like, we will actually be releasing a Puss in Boots review episode, people. So we're actually going to be releasing this episode on Friday, and the Puss in Boots review will be released on Tuesday. So, and we got a little teaser, like, in our Discord group from Fergus. So myself and Chaz were like, oh yeah, Puss in Boots, that's interesting. And Fergus is like, yeah, I've got comments on that movie. And we're like, oh god, here it comes.
Yes, I will leave everything that is not Jack Horner or orientated to the review, but in terms of the character of Jack Horner, there is a lot to unpack there. So supposedly traumatized childhood turning him into villain who goes around collecting magical items. Like, you could have quite a few episodes or movies about him going on quests to get Excalibur or harass unicorns, and I think you could probably make it quite, like, maliciously, villainously funny as well. And what we now know that his end goal is to get all magic, which, he's been building up to for a while with his magic collection. He's also running a business. He's also just not getting on with people because, he doesn't value people. He's also, he's running this bakery business. Yeah, I feel there's an awful lot to unpack in Jack Horner, and I think he was underused in the movie of Puss in Boots.
I mean, the idea of would you have him on a redemption arc, or would you just have him like a villain type person, almost like a, I don't want to say these words, but like a magic, without eating people, a magical Hannibal?
Without spoiling the movie, I think we're going to have to do a origin story kind of deal for him. Like maybe some childhood, so probably concentrating on the quest to the magical items, because he's not going to have changed character much, and he has got a posse of bakers that he's taking into dangerous situations to get known items. So, like, for, say, the Excalibur thing, he'll go to an Arthurian world and have to deal with Merlin and whoever, and other, storybook people, and generally just be a dick about it to collect items. Like, yeah.
I mean, not going off too much. I really did enjoy John Mulaney's portrayal of Jack Horner in the actual movie itself. We won't go into it too much because we'll leave that to review. But that's an interesting character. That's not probably the character I thought you would have gone for, to be honest.
No, like so the internet has gone nuts and have started making edits that have kind of cropped up adjacent to the AMV world. So they've started like putting him walking into rooms to music and stuff. Like there is an internet Jack Horner appreciation crowd out there. And it is partly the reason I went to see Puss in Boots, to be honest.
I totally forgot about this character, and he's an English, English historical character as well.
He's a nursery rhyme.
Yeah, he's a famous nursery rhyme, which I'm just like, oh shit, yeah, I do remember that from when I was little. But
little Jack Horner who sticks his thumb in a pie.
But I mean, that does play into the narrative of the movie as well, really.
Yeah.
Like, which is, I gotta give you that, man. I've gotta give you that. It's really awesome, to be honest. So, any more to say on Jack Horner?
I don't know. So there's you could do a lot with it and pick an item, make a movie or an episode. Disney Plus, please do this.
Okay, I mean, like, it would be interesting. I mean, like, we're getting a Zootopia 2 and Inside Out 2.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to pull that off.
Yeah.
Because I loved those movies.
Yeah, they're
Bing
very
bong
good.
for life, that's all I'll say. But yeah, so my one is The Predator. So,
okay.
yeah, so obviously in the Predator culture, there is a... like an honor code, essentially. Like they only go after things that will fight them. You know, if they're not worthy of fighting, they'll leave them. So have you seen the movie Prey? No, you haven't.
No, I haven't.
Because it's on Disney Plus.
Because it's on Disney Plus, and I haven't got around to spending my hard-earned cash on Disney Plus yet.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna have to drag you around here one day and watch this stuff and just watch it.
I say once Netflix boots me, I'm going straight to Disney.
Prey is a great movie. Like, it's an hour and a half long, which is great in itself. Dan Trachtenberg from 10 Cloverfield Lane. He did an amazing job. I think we spoke about this movie earlier in the year. And it has the aspect of, like, you know, he doesn't attack this female warrior because he doesn't see her as a threat at one point in the movie. But what would happen if the Predator, like, culture, his honor code broke down? So they didn't believe that anymore. They just believed they were the dominant alien race.
Okay.
Because they're the apex predators, essentially,
Yeah.
intended. And they start dominating other races. And the idea is a splinter group goes off. They believe in the honor code still. So they're not entirely good people. But humanity, this is sort of like set in the far future, like, you know, the whole Weyland-Yutani era type. You know, it's like that period of time. So we're talking AVP, like, game era.
Yeah.
What if that splinter group came to Earth to help humanity? Because humanity was next on their list, basically. Now, humanity at this point in time aren't really good guys themselves. Like, you know, you get the corporation aspect of, like, you know, the people betraying humanity and everything. So you get these multiple factions coming into it, and you get this, you get these human groups coming and like saying, oh, maybe we should like go with the predator race and everything. I believe they have an actual name, the Utari race or something, or the Utari tribe, but I may be wrong in that, people. But what if you had that sort of aspect to it, like, you know, having the predator race, like, believing the honor code still, but then, like, following a different aspect?
I think you could do that quite well the other way round. So if you had a splinter group who no longer believes in the honor code, comes to Earth and kind of, like, teams up with Earth's less reputable people, and then they get followed by a hit squad of people, of predators who follow the honor code.
I think you should only send one, though. I think one is good enough still.
Yeah. It depends. Yeah, it depends how many are in the splinter group. But then you get a situation where you've got humans with corrupt predators versus honourable predators. Which could be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, I mean, you do get, because, like, in the AVP movie, did you watch that movie?
A long time ago.
But had a predator team up with a human to fight a xenomorph?
Yes.
Yes. Do you know about the Predator movie that was supposed to, like, a few years ago now?
I think I've seen most of the.
It's the one where like it's the group of convicts and everything, and like there's the child with autism.
Doesn't ring a bell. I might have.
The narrative like kind of frustrated a lot of people because they use the aspect of like spoilers for the Predator movie. People, the child has like autism. And he cracks the alien language. And
I have seen this, and they get freaked out because they're like, "Oh, what's going on?" Because they didn't expect to get hacked.
But then at the end of that movie, it turns out that there's a predator that had brought the suit, the pred hunter suit that the human gets into. So they sort of become like a hybrid, like human and predator armor type situation.
Oh, yeah, both humanoid.
Really good concept.
Yeah.
But not a great movie.
No.
Thomas Jane was in it. Love Thomas Jane. Keegan Michael Key was in it as well.
Yeah.
Like good few actors in it, but it just wasn't. I liked aspects of the movie, but it could have just been better.
Yeah, I mean, I must have seen that in like my early teens. So I was like, yeah, it's another Predator film.
I mean, I'll don't get me wrong. We had the Predators movie.
The Predator.
Where the people were taken to the world with Lawrence Fishburne and Adrian Brody. That was a good movie.
Yeah.
But, the movie I'm talking about was like from 2018, basically. And, Yes. So yeah, that's my first pick, to be honest.
Okay, for number 2 for me, it's going to take a bit of explanation if you're not an anime head. So, have you ever seen the anime Akame ga Kill? I assume no.
So I know it's an audio podcast, people. Fergus just looked at me like, no, he does not know who this is.
It's quite famous.
Can you spell this for me?
Yes. Hold on. AKAME space.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that's the one. So,
oh my god.
It's not. No, it's not. It's not lewd at all, really. So the main anime follows a group of rebels rebelling against a very quite authoritarian kingdom who's trying to stamp them out. Guy, I think is Isekai. So the guy gets turns up in this world and joins them because he sees all the evil the Empire is doing. But towards the end, they meet one of the generals, Esdeath, who's a high-ranking general of the Empire. She's got quite an interesting backstory. It's just deliberately finding the most lewd manga. Yeah.
I just saw the image for so I'm just clicking on
it. Okay. So, Esdeath, in the anime towards the end, she's quite an accomplished general, pretty sadistic, falls in love with the main character because of course she does, and just all kinds of weirdness happens. He needs to be rescued from her, and she turns pretty over-attached and yandere about it. But as I say, she's got a very interesting backstory. So she's from this remote tribe. She's the last survivor of her village. To survive, she had to it was kind of like an ice tribe. So, in Star Wars when they got what's the name of the creature? To hide in its...
Oh, the Tauntaun.
Yeah, the Tauntaun. Basically, she lives by doing Tauntaun stuff to creatures. I know, it's pretty messed up. But it kind of informs her character somewhat. So she turns into this super sadistic monster hunter, ultra cool general who's basically sent by the Empire to capture countries. You could make quite an interesting series about her over violently taking over nations and monster hunting. She's not without honor. She'll torture people she thinks are weak, but will kind of have respectful anime battles with people she feels are strong, right? So there's again quite a bit of interesting character development there. Maybe she's not the most obvious character to kind of follow because she's not in most of the episodes. And, she plays a big part in the episodes that she's in, but she's a bit of a niche character. But very, very villainous.
Interesting. I actually love the art style of the show, to be honest. I'm a big fan of, because I'm watching, I'm starting to finish Rising of the Shield Hero Season 2, but it does sort of remind me, and also Seven Deadly Sins animation style. Sort of reminds me of that a little bit, to be honest. I might have to give this a go, to be honest, as well, just for, I did read that it probably won't be getting a second season.
No, it's been a while since the first...
7 years, I read?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, it kind of rounds off relatively well. There's a bit of open-ended for expansion on the main heroes, but typically in anime that stuff doesn't often get followed up on.
No, that can kind of work, though, to be honest. So, that's awesome. Any running off comments on that?
No... I guess. There's a lot of in-depth history to go in, I guess, but just watch the show and you'll see what I mean.
Fair play. So my next character is someone who I'm looking at the new Hercules movie coming out and how they're possibly going to be more linking to proper Greek mythology, which I'm thinking, well, this means this character probably isn't much of a bad guy as much. I'm talking about Hades.
Ah, right. Yeah, okay.
Because I mean, thing like Percy Jackson and stuff like that. He I mean, he's sort of like an he's a villain to a degree, but he isn't like full on villain. And I was thinking like the Hades video game. How we all love that game. Like, from did you play the Hades game?
Very little of it.
So yeah, I love the character from that. You play as Zadius. So I almost blanked on that. Then even though I completed it like 30, one time, but I have died like 50 times. But yeah, my plan was like, what if taking inspiration from DMC, Darksiders. Do you remember the game Darksiders? With the four horsemen of the apocalypse, you play as War and Death in the two games.
Oh no, I don't remember this at all.
Yeah, so it's like a hack and slash game where you play as War in the first game and then Death in the second. And I can't remember who you play. Maybe Famine in the third.
Okay.
And yeah, so it was taking that concept of like, what if Hades wasn't the good guy, but he was, he was there to prevent his siblings, basically. So I had a couple ideas with this. So the Olympians are planning to wipe out the world, and Hades is the only one who can prevent his brothers and the rest of them taking over and releasing Kronos. Okay. So obviously, Kronos is a big aspect of being a Titan for, before, I believe from my Greek history, he was a Titan, and then there's he's a god of time, possibly. Anyway, so taking the aspect of it. The other one is taking the amnesia route, but the flip at the end. So having the character's lost his memory, and he's in a downtrodden city. Like humanity's basically broken apart now. Like it's all like post-apocalyptic type thing. There's like cities left, settlement wall cities left, and everything. And he's a journeying Ronin, basically, or like a character who travels between cities, and he gets stuck in the city when the Olympic gods, or like the monsters, attack and everything. And he helps defend the city. He starts regaining his memories as he goes through, and he's thinking, "Oh, am I a good person? Am I a descendant of Zeus?" Because he's having flashes of Zeus and everything. He's getting similar powers to Zeus. But it turns out they're actually Hades, and you were the one who originally caused the end of the world. But you lost your memory, and now you're conflicted because you're trying to prevent the end of humanity, even though you originally caused it.
Yeah, that's interesting. That is a massive internal conflict going on there.
Like basically, it wasn't you. Like, let's say you alone. You basically worked with your siblings.
Yeah.
And then you got caught in something, and then you essentially, it's the whole change of heart story as you play through and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of reflective of your surroundings, more game character sort of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the general idea.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
I mean, yeah. Take to the TV, people. Take to the TV. Like,
do it, Disney.
I mean, a lot of these shows try to go over multiple seasons, but this could be done in a season. You could easily do it in a 10-episode run and everything. But I was just thinking,
big twist, rounded off sort of deal.
Well, I was thinking, Hades in the original Disney Hercules movie, which is amazing, by the way, portrayed as a massive villain. Hades in a lot of interpretations has been.
Well, I mean, originally it was the original depiction of heaven and hell, so it's come a long way since then. Like, we're talking about, the
thousands of years.
3, 4, 5. If we're talking about ancient Greek history, probably 5,000-6,000 years. Yeah. So enough time for it to be corrupted, diluted somewhat.
Yes, exactly, and that's when I'm just thinking flip the story on its head, because we've had interpretations of the devil.
Yeah.
And Lucifer the TV show, which is, again, I'll mention again, people, if you've not seen it, watch it on Netflix. Good. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
It does have like the cop of the week story at the beginning, but then it changes up as it goes through. And Tom Ellis is brilliant as Lucifer. He is one of the most charming men on the planet. No matter, he can swoon anybody. That's for damn sure. Yeah, that's my next pick, Hades.
Cool. Okay. I like that. So my final pick. You may have seen an episode that we've done previously on Cyberpunk the anime. So we will be picking Adam Smasher. Adam Smasher, Day in a Life of TV show. How did Adam Smasher become so powerful? What does Adam Smasher do day to day? Does he just potter about Night City going to McDonald's? I don't
You
think
really
so.
like your McDonald's aspect, like going to the McDonald's, right, don't you?
It's
like,
what I do.
I mean, if we could get there.
If I could get there. Yeah. No, I think this could be Adam Smasher could be quite an interesting vehicle to look at what Arasaka Corp kind of do day to day, as him as one of their most important kind of enforcers. You kind of get a view of the technology or what it does to people, and him specifically, and what he's enforcing, who he's protecting.
Could it be the downfall of Adam Smasher? So like he's sort of like if you've watched Cyberpunk Edge Runners, how like David is like enhanced to a point and everything, and he can like.
I mean, maybe, but
without
that
going
would
into
mean
spoilers too much for Edge Runners, but
going straight through the territory of the Cyberpunk anime, which I don't think is necessarily a sensible idea. You could probably lead into the anime of the Cyberpunk anime, and then kind of maybe do a different series that has Adam Smasher floating around as like a sequel to the Cyberpunk anime. But the building up of Adam Smasher, I think, would be quite interesting, because he's far beyond anyone else in that world, and there must be specific reasons to why. So it's just an excuse to explore Night City more.
I mean, yeah, like looking at the characters, obviously, I still haven't played Cyberpunk 2077, which I keep getting told off for. Like, I do think like the downfall stories of characters, like Breaking Bad, for example, the fall of Walter White, essentially, and like characters like that. I think the idea of Adam Smasher, for me personally, going from, let's say, a military character, very honourable and everything, to the monster he becomes, essentially.
I guess so. Yeah, if you start him off as like an actual human and then going to what he ends up being, could be quite interesting.
Because I believe he is in the earlier time period without going into too much spoilers, with Johnny Silverhand, and he is mentioned there as well. So he's like at least 30 years ago.
Yeah, he's been a corporate enforcer for some time in the cyberpunk world. So there's a lot of time period to explore. Well, you could involve him in the you're doing like a prequel Johnny Silverhand story, because he's covered in the games, so you do it from a different perspective, which I guess would be Adam Smasher.
I mean, get Keanu those voice acting roles.
Yeah, let's use as much Keanu as humanly possible.
I mean, he's going to be finishing up with John Wick soon, so.
Well, not that soon. There's another 2 movies to be launched.
Well, 2 after the one coming out in March.
Yes.
There's only 1 more after that. It's only 5.
Right.
Yeah, hopefully that one isn't 3 hours long, because this one almost
8
is.
8 hours of fighting.
I mean, like, so I know he's got an anime coming out called Berserker, based on his graphic novel he wrote on the side. Like, they're actually doing into an adaptation and everything, so.
Okay.
I mean, he's already done voice acting for the game, so, like.
Yes, he seems, well. He knows more about voice acting than a lot of other actors in the West. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes, no, yeah, that is very true. To be honest, I'll give you that. So yeah, no, that's a really good option. To be honest, Adam Smash didn't think of that. That's really I like the idea of a downfall of a character. Yeah, that's interesting. Speaking of like characters, downfall of characters and monsters, we're going to round it off with my final character now, which has actually been interpreted a few times in like the redemption arc of a character, or a good character. I'm talking about Frankenstein's monster. Didn't make the mistake. Didn't make the mistake by saying Frankenstein.
Yeah. I've actually read the book.
I've never read it.
It's a strange book. It's
because Mary Shelley, right?
Mary Shelley. But it was written in an era where, so like the introduction is obviously her trying to write the book, but it's from an era where no one took women authors seriously. So she then makes it about her writing about a guy who ends up writing about another guy, who then meets a guy who then tells her about this guy who was Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster. It's the most tangential introduction to a story I've ever read in my life.
So
yeah,
going off my interpretation, basically like how you have the films such as I, Frankenstein with Aaron Eckhart, and you also had Frankenstein in Van Helsing. So my idea is basically taking the idea of how, Frankenstein is immortal, but he is trying to help humanity. Now, in the I, Frankenstein movie, it's a war between demons and gargoyles. It's fucking weird as random as fuck. It's a very very weird movie. And then in Van Helsing, you've seen Van Helsing, I presume.
Yes.
I actually quite like it. It's a very guilty pleasure movie, to be honest, for me. Dracula, Van Helsing, and Wolfman are all in one movie. And Van Helsing. I thought it was great. But my idea is basically, I had a few interpretations of how you could go about this. So, Frankenstein's monster is a character who's misinterpreted in general in life. He didn't want to be this character. Hell, we got the fucking monsters. Just a character. We're getting the Creature Commando show with James Gunn, Frankenstein possibly leading this team.
Yeah, I mean, there's even references to Frankenstein, the Addams Family.
Exactly. It's like, with Lurch. Yeah, creepy. Yeah. Anyway, so my idea is basically I had a few interpretations of this. So, let's say a descendant of Dr. Frankenstein is being hunted by Frankenstein's monster, but it turns out it isn't Frankenstein's monster. It's a botched version that was done before him. Yes. So Frankenstein monster isn't the first creation.
Oh no, even in the original films, I think there's a film where Frankenstein dies and brings himself back using the same technology as he brought Frankenstein's monster back from. It gets really there's a huge amount of Hammer horror Frankenstein movies that go into very interesting. We'll see.
But the idea is basically there's a botched attempt. He was locked away because you can't basically once you've created this creature, you can't destroy it, so it has to be just locked away essentially. But a cultist group, we talk about cults a lot tonight, finds the body and sees it as a way to sort of control it essentially.
Yeah.
And they have to take out the descent of Frankenstein for a blood type thing basically.
Yeah.
Frankenstein's monster is sort of rebirthed as well, reincarnated, or not reincarnated, but reemerges after centuries as well because of the situation with this other monster, but he doesn't know what's going on. He's just attracted, not in that way, just magnetized towards this character essentially to protect them. But you find a lot of interpretations of movies I like is you don't find out a lot until the second act maybe of this character isn't the bad person essentially. I do love that movies where it gets flipped on its head, like T2 one of being the first examples where Arnie was actually the good guy.
Yeah.
And that's one of my first ideas where basically it's Frankenstein fighting himself, essentially fighting the monster that you are, or the monster that you could be, and seeing what you could have been basically. That's one of the ideas I have. Another idea is basically each body part he has on him has a collected memory. So I watched a show called iZombie. Brilliant show.
Yeah.
And every time she eats a brain in the show, she gains the memories of that character.
Yeah.
And the personality of that character.
Yeah.
And she gets flashes of the murders. Especially she eats the murder's brain. Great show. Highly recommend it.
Okay.
It's on Netflix. So yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure if you actually watch on Netflix.
Yes.
What if Frankenstein's body parts had memories of the people that were grave robbed?
Oh damn! Yeah, that one it could be very interesting.
Or he has to he's protecting the descendants of the original people that he's built off of.
Yeah, or you do something like the traditional ghost thing, or he's got to make peace by doing that thing that they were put on Earth to do, or
exactly
vengeance, or that.
Maybe there's a curse on his body. Wild idea here. How Pinocchio is a wooden boy and then he becomes a real boy at the end. What if Frankenstein has a curse? Frankenstein's monster has a curse on him that each body, every time he saves a descendant, he starts turning into a real man, and he finally becomes human the way he always wanted.
Yes, I don't. Thematically, that might be a tricky to do with the whole science aspect of it. Scary aspect of the original.
Thinking about the Hellboy occult style aspect though.
Yes, it's still a bit too redeemy for Hellboy cult stuff.
I guess so, yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, but it's, you know,
Yeah.
like, you know, but it's,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's the idea of like these body parts here, you know, I don't know, or possibly it could be set in the early days where basically it's set 20 years after the events of the original thing, Frankenstein monsters out there somewhere, and then the descendants of these original body parts are just need to be protected by, I don't know, a creature or something, like another interpretation. So melding the ideas together, basically.
Yeah.
That concept. The final one is a like classic style approach of taking the Mummy into concept like the Brendan Fraser movie, or like, you know, these ideas of like Van Helsing is a prime example of this, where he is created like in the Van Helsing movie. Obviously in that movie Dracula kills Dr. Frankenstein, and then Frankenstein's monster flees, and then he comes back and fights later. But what if his purpose in the world is to defeat these creatures? Sort of like he eventually takes on, like, the narrative transforms into Frankenstein becoming Van Helsing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could definitely do that. Like, an agency could very much take advantage of him or create him for the purpose of doing kind of like the Suicide Squad, but Suicide
Exactly.
Frankenstein's monster thingy.
But that's the thing, like, you know, you don't,
Yeah.
like, Van Helsing isn't a thing in this world, and he doesn't have an identity. But as the story goes along, he becomes the hunter of the creatures,
Yeah.
and he becomes Van Helsing.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, very doable, very plausible. You could, I mean, you'd need to have like a dark, scary agency behind him.
And, like,
but,
yeah, you'd fight
yeah.
Dracula, Wolfman, Creature from the Black Lagoon, the Mummy, the Invisible Man, like, all these interpretations.
Could do it very episodically as well.
Exactly.
This episode, the guy from the Black Lagoon's been seen in New York. Better go and defeat him.
Yeah, little anthology series, like, you know, and then I don't know, it could be a case of like the agency he's been working with have teamed up with Dracula at the end, possibly. Because I think Dracula is usually always the main bad guy at the end, to be honest.
Yes, he's very much the guy in control. So it could be very plausible that Dracula is running the agency for some reason.
Or what if Dracula's killed in the last episode? Turns out one of the other villains is in charge the entire time. Let's say the Mummy.
Yes.
I don't know, like, you know.
Intelligent mummies.
I mean, Imhotep, like.
I guess. Yeah. I mean. Yeah. Okay. Imhotep like cult.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
But just
okay.
that sort of idea, you know, take an aspect of like, I like the concept of like turning like a carrot into something else, like turning it on its head, like that idea basically. And I think the idea of Frankenstein becoming Van Helsing in Legend, like how you've got the new I Am Legend movie coming out, which is a sequel.
Yes, we have talked about this. I don't know how that works.
Oh, I'll tell you.
Oh.
They've actually confirmed it.
Okay.
Have you seen the alternate ending to that movie?
I don't think I have.
He survives.
Right.
Basically, what happens is, for spoilers, the film is over 20 years old now, people, the creatures are actually intelligent.
Right.
And they want the female back.
Yes.
So he gives them the female back, and they let him go.
Okay.
So he doesn't sacrifice himself.
Right.
This movie takes place from the alternate ending.
That's going to be a marketing stretch, isn't it?
Unless they re-release the movie in cinemas.
With the alternate ending. I mean, I guess. I mean, how much appetite is there in cinemas for a 20-year-old Will Smith movie?
But it's not just Will Smith, though. Michael B. Jordan's going to be in the movie.
For the sequel, yes, but not for the re-release.
Yeah, but surely no, they'd really re-release the film.
Oh, together.
Sort of how, like, when they do, like, you know, the new Scream movie coming out, they've been hosting pre-Scream.
Double features could come back.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So taking that aspect of it. So yeah, no, just that idea of, like, having that possibly, but just see how that goes. But yeah, I just, again, like, I Am Legend, but supposedly they're going to take more into... Have you ever read the original book?
No.
It's really good. Like,
Yeah.
and it's very different to the original film. But they're going to take inspirations from the book.
That's good.
And the reason I say all this, like, this whole tangent of I Am Legend, is basically, like, the interpretation of the character towards the end of the book is flipped on the reader's head. So interpreting Frankenstein as the monster who hunts other monsters, like, he becomes the monster hunter in essence of the original Van Helsing. So let's say he goes away at the end, like, you know, the traditional hero death and everything. The Legend of Van Helsing is born from that character.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I love, as you know, people from this episode today, I love a good redemption arc. I love a good, like, hero turn and everything. Fergus is just like, let's take it into how they become demented and deranged and how, you know, how they become these evil characters. And I'm like, redemption.
Well, it's like everyone's got their own story and arc and stuff. It's not necessarily, you don't need redemption arcs to understand a character, even if you know them from one side of things of being a villain because, you know, they're a murderous general or what have you. So I think there's a lot of value in drilling down into these characters.
Yeah, no, that is very, very true. But I think that's it, Fergus.
Yeah, that is villains done. One thing I would say, actually, it's fairly, historically in films fairly recently that villains have been able to appear on screen and win. So, you know, Italian Job.
Yes.
The original Italian Job was originally very controversial because the bad guys nearly won. Well, they had to have the ending how it was because they couldn't. The film literally wouldn't be released if they had got away with the gold.
Well, Ocean's 11.
I mean, things have evolved since like the 50s, 60s, quite considerably.
Didn't happen in the original version because obviously Ocean's 11 is a remake of the original version.
Oh yeah. I don't know if I've seen the original version. Great Escape.
Oh wait, no, that's a good guy. So what am I about?
Canonically the good guys.
Yeah, why did I say that? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think back at movies where, like, Taxi Driver.
I think 70s it was beginning to corrupt, but again, I think that was majorly controversial.
Yeah, yes, that was, yeah. No, you are absolutely correct. No, yes.
So we've got to the point now where Suicide Squad are just saving the day.
That is true, and we are getting a show from James Gunn called Creature Commandos, which has like a whole bunch of them in there, which I think is absolutely brilliant, to be honest. And I'm looking, and supposedly they've already got their Frankenstein.
Oh, okay.
So it turns out that James Gunn has come out and like people said, oh, like you get these news outlets basically saying, did you approach Henry Cavill to play Frankenstein if you can't play Superman? And James Gunn was like, no. Henry Cavill was never in their mind for this, but we've already got our Frankenstein. They just haven't announced them yet.
The Rock.
Oh, God, no.
More.
Dave Bautista.
Yeah.
No, I think Dave Bautista might be done with... He may be done with action roles for a while.
I don't know.
Did you hear about him, like, basically saying, a little tangent, like how he's not getting cast in romantic comedies and stuff, as the romantic lead and everything?
No,
there's no one wanting to get cast in those, and some people come out and say, like, all right for you. I'm like, fuck it, yeah, why not? He's a charming guy, like,
yeah,
you know, he's really funny. Do it, like,
yeah.
But no, we're not gonna tangent into that, though, people. So a bit of Frankenstein conversation at the end, and I Am Legend. But yeah, that is it. Like.
Awesome.
How do we feel about that?
Good. I would definitely want to watch all of my proposed TV series.
Well, let's hope so. You fucking talked about it enough.
I know. Your ideas were amazing as well. We need to come up with
thank you. I'm blushing. Yes.
Let's come up with our own villain-themed streaming service to rival many other niche streaming services out there.
Link it back to last week's episode. That's the best way to go. I don't know. Shudder does a good job as well. Like, just give it to Shudder. Why not? You know. Yeah. Just know, give the little guy some more content to to boom them and everything. Though they could become the bad guy. Like your interpretation of your villains. You know, you never know.
Dun dun dun.
But yeah, so we're gonna leave it there, people. We're gonna get into the lovely outro we do now. If you got any questions, queries, or compliments, you know, maybe you have some villains that we haven't spoke about today. Or possibly you have some villains that you just want to send in to us, or maybe you have villains that we've already spoke about and different interpretations yourselves. If you want to do that, get in contact with us at nmipodcast@outlook.com. That's nmipodcast@outlook.com. If you want to get our socials, that's at nmicast for Twitter and Instagram. Or actually, if you literally just go onto Google and type nmicast, we are at the top of those search things there, so you don't have to worry about that now, which is actually pretty fun. I found that out the other day, actually. I just typed in NMI cast and we're automatically there. So yeah, please do that, people. We'll put in the the description, the email as well, if you want to contact us that way. Please do that. We look forward to hearing from you. But I want to thank Fergus for joining me today.
Thank you for having me yet again.
And we definitely probably should have done this probably towards the spoopy season, but
every season is spooky season.
That is very, very true, to be honest. And with all the horror games coming out recently, Dead Space, Callisto, Resident Evil, we'll see how that goes. But I've been your host, Nate. Again, I want to thank folks for joining me today.
Thank you very much.
And see you next week, everyone. Stay safe, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.